Entitled tried to play Disability Olympics with me and ended up getting scolded by the staff. So, to preface this story, I have OCD and am on the autism spectrum. I have this weekly routine of going to a specific bubble tea place every Sunday, sitting in the same corner of the restaurant that has a little hole in the wall less noisy than the rest of the place, which is why I like it because I'm sound averse. Usually when I get here it is occupied, but I just sit at a random table for a little while until it frees up and then I move in for the rest of the evening until closing time. On the weeks I don't get to do this, my anxiety flares up and both my sense of time and my week are totally fucked until my next ritual comes around all the way on Friday. Yeah, OCD sucks LM5. Today, I arrived to the place and miraculously the spot in the wall was empty. The second I sat down, this random middle-aged man gave me a death stare from across the room but went back to his drink and his kids, two little hurricanes who would not stop running around and tossing balloons around inside the cafe. The girl must be around 7 or so eventually showed up at the little hole and crawled up and started playing with her balloon as I was doing schoolwork, being very loud and distracting and having no sense of personal space. I am deathly afraid of scaring children due to my own childhood, so I kind of just stared at her until she went away because I didn't want to spook her. She eventually left. 5 minutes later she comes back with her brother, presumably around the same age if not a little older. Now, he didn't talk much, but there was something about his general energy and the way he was dressed, for example those glasses that are strapped around the back and his face, that told me that he was probably a special needs kid too. I repeated the exact same thing as before, just staring at them, but this time it didn't work. So I said, "Oh, excuse me," and the two kept playing. Then I stared at their dad and when they realized they scampered off to him. About only a minute later, this grown man with his two little hurricanes comes back and starts asking me to let the kids play there, that there is enough space, etc., etc. I tell them that both of them have come dangerously close to stepping on my tablet where I do my work multiple times and that they are very noisy and it is difficult for me to concentrate with that volume. He then pulls out the "my son is autistic" little card, knew it, to which I replied, "Well, yeah, I am autistic too. And I need my peace and quiet to be able to work, so please just tell your kids to not crawl into the wall right now." He started going off about how I was clearly less autistic than his son, and that they deserved to be able to play. At this point I kind of snapped and told him that it was terrible parenting for him to be using his son's disability as an excuse for them to walk all over people, that this wasn't some kind of competition and that his kids would still be able to play perfectly fine without disturbing me as long as they stayed out of the hole. He got mad and, for some reason, decided to call one of the barristers over. He explained the situation as this brat wouldn't let my kids play and have fun despite the fact my son is autistic. The barrister, however, knew me because of my frequent visits, so she just told him she doubted that and to keep his screaming kids in check and in their seats or they'd all be kicked out of the cafe. He just huffed and scampered off to his seat and that was the end of it. I am glad he got his instant karma, but geez, the entitlement of this guy to try to minimize my own disability just so his kids could be annoying freely. Edit, quick addendum. I am 16. Like, I am not a grown adult trying to deny these kids their playtime. I am literally just a few years older, which is why I found his urge to argue with me insane. Mom feels entitled to my daughter's toy at the splash pad because her son has autism by user enormous radio. Since last year I've been taking my 4-year-old daughter to the local splash pad to work on feeling more comfortable with the water and with playing with others. She has ADHD and sensory deficits and going to the splash pad has been great for her socially and emotionally. Most parents at this local splash pad bring their own water buckets and squirters for their kids to play with as well as other water toys. Usually stuff from the dollar store. My daughter shares her toys with other kids at the splash pad regularly and in turn they will share their stuff and play together. Every time I've been there I've had such positive experiences with other parents and they usually help guide the children into turn taking and help guide positive social or emotional interactions. I've met some great parents and kids there and have even met up again for more playdates. However, this afternoon I had a really bad experience. Over the weekend my daughter cashed in her good job marbles for a Paw Patrol beach bucket with Sky on it and she couldn't wait to bring it to the splash pad. Here today we bring this bucket along with a beach duffel bag that had our other water toys, snacks and towels to the splash pad. My daughter was playing in the splash pad and was filling up her Sky bucket with water when I noticed a boy, probably around 5 or 6, grab her bucket and bring it to his siblings on the other side of the splash pad. My daughter comes running to me upset. At the time I'm thinking that maybe he doesn't recognize it belongs to her and thinks it just came with the park. I figure in this moment it would be a good move to go over to those kids with my daughter and ask if they can all play together since it is her bucket, so she doesn't feel something that belongs to her is getting taken away, and turn it into a positive experience, and the child doesn't get embarrassed either. Win-win. When my daughter asks if she can also play with her bucket, he starts to scream angrily and literally throws it back to my daughters as he runs away in frustration. I guess that didn't work like I planned, but we did get our bucket back, and my daughter played good for the next half hour with some other kids catching water until she had to use the restroom. She put all her toys back into our bag and we zip it up so we did not leave things out and about while we went pee. Anyways, when we come back from the restroom, my bag is not on my beach towel where I left it, and instead I see it dumped over, snacks and all, on the other side of the splash pad, and that boy and his siblings are playing with all my water toys. He of course is prancing around with the sky bucket. I feel pretty ticked off honestly, because I felt like he was waiting for an opportunity to swipe, and the fact that my whole bag was dumped that just felt so invasive, and even more so that it had to be unzipped. My first thought is, where the fuck are the parents? No one seems to be watching at all. I was ready to leave at this point, so I approach the kids and I say, hey guys, can we please put away those toys? They belong to us and we are going to be leaving. We need to ask before taking things. Siblings comply and put the stuff away. My daughter tries to retrieve her bucket from the boy's hands and he goes, no, it's mine, my bucket. I gently keep saying it's her bucket, buddy, and we are going to be leaving, she needs it back. And he starts running away again. So in that moment I just run after him, grab his hands to release his fingers off the bucket which he had a grip on, and gave it back to my child. He fully and completely melts down. That is when Mom finally appears with one of the siblings. She's pissed off and tells me not to please not touch her child. I try to explain the situation, but she's honestly not even remotely sympathetic and says the bucket's probably a frickin' dollar, get over it yourself. I honestly start to feel pretty bad because this child is highly deregulated, face first on the splash pad and banging his head into the splash pad foam floor, but the bucket was something my daughter cashed in her good job marbles for, and it was something that she worked very hard for and earned. I just felt that it would have been a terrible lesson in boundaries to just give it away because someone was crying. All I said was, I can't give it away, it belongs to her, and walked to the bench to gather the rest of my stuff. The mom is trying very hard at this point to de-escalate her son and is getting very frustrated at me and yells across the splash pad condescendingly, this is why you don't bring toys to the splash pad if you don't want to share them with the others. I then hear her trying to bring another random mom into the situation, saying he's autistic, he doesn't know better. Can you believe it? And now he's a mess, ridiculous, all over a dollar store bucket they won't let him use. Why even bring it if they don't want it being used? It was so embarrassing. When I got to my car, I just cried. I've been having back and forth internal conflicts over the situation. I feel like a total asshole because I did rip the bucket from his hands, and I know firsthand how hard autistic meltdowns can be, especially since this child appears to have zero impulse control and regulatory skills. But on the other hand, my daughter is neurodivergent as am I, and I've worked through very hard building those skills with her, and the bucket was symbolic of that, and I didn't feel comfortable giving it away. If she truly wanted her child to have fun with the bucket, she should have been guiding his interactions. Fael is absolutely furious. My partner wants to hyphenate our last names and threatened to fire my partner over it by user as Zara's college. So my partner and I are a queer couple. Edit, I realize people assume we're a lesbian couple. We are not. We are both non-binary, but we look like two gay men from the outside looking in. My partner's family sees us both as men. I myself am a trans man. My partner was born male. This is how we can have biological children. I am currently pregnant though, and my Fael asked what the kid's last name would be. My partner said we would be hyphenating our last names white black, and said when we got married soon they would also be changing their last name as well. This absolutely set my Fael off. For extra context, my partner is currently heir to their family business and currently works there. My Fael said if my partner changes their last name that they will not have a job anymore and will not be inheriting the business. He said this business was built on the white family name and I will not allow another family name in this business. That as the pregnant person I should be the one inheriting their family name. I found it absolutely crazy he would threaten my partner's job over a last name. We aren't changing it entirely, just hyphenating. I didn't think this was such a big deal. So he is absolutely holding this over my partner's head and saying I should be the one to give up my last name. Mom is making me buy a PS4 for my cousin because I sold mine. I use a glittering Triminus 7021. So basically, I have had my PS4 since like 2018, and over the years I've been using it a lot less. I'm about to go to university and wanted to upgrade to a PC and wanted to sell my PS4. I told my parents about my plan and they didn't really care, so I took it as a go-ahead to sell it. That was in February, and now this month my cousin came in to visit and he has an old Xbox 360 which was still working. My mum asked me why I hadn't been playing my PS4 with him, then I told her that I'd sold it. She became really mad at me because of it, because she said she wanted to give it to my cousin instead of selling it. Now my cousin's Xbox is broken and she wants me to buy a PS4 for him, but I refuse to do it because she could easily buy it with her money and I don't work. Am I in the wrong here? My mother is ruining our relationship over me 32 off having tattoos by users and noodle. I'm a 32-year-old woman, wife, mother of 2. I have my own home, my own car, career. Well, you get the picture. My mom treats me like an actual child. My mother 62 off is very old-fashioned and also has a lot of childhood trauma that makes her think if I don't eat live or think exactly the way she does that it is wrong. My sister and I got matching tattoos yesterday, and you'd think we had committed a murder. She kept calling my sister and I while we were out, basically harassing us and telling us we are trashy and disgusting and that we were doing this to spite her. She also called me to tell me that I was a bad mother because I had my 1-year-old in a stroller with me, but my sister and I took turns in a waiting area with him, so he didn't see anything. Not that it matters anyways. She does this kind of thing whenever I make a decision in my life that she doesn't like or agree with. Especially tattoos, which I have 5. My sister said she talked with her this morning and my mom wanted to apologize to me, but it still sounded like she has some opinions. I don't really care what she thinks at this point. And it is not appropriate for her to talk to me like this. I know she is my mother and I love her, but this is not okay. She can be so mean and hurtful, and I just don't understand why my decision making makes her go so insane. I don't think she is a narcissist, but sometimes it seems like she doesn't agree with any decision I make in my life. She has had a problem with everything. How I dress, my job, what family I married into, getting married, getting pregnant after I got married because I was too young, I was 26, where I live, how I need to lose weight, etc. I am honestly at my wit's end. What is her problem?